Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and very good day to all my students. So here it is, the video of the topic themes. Yeah. Okay, our last class we have finished on groups. Okay, so we are going to continue on themes. All right. So for themes, okay, we start with the definitions of what is work teams. Okay, work teams basically groups whose members work intensely on a specific common goal using their positive synergy, individual and mutual accountability, and complementary skills. So if you refer to this explanation or to these words of the definitions of work teams, you can see that there are four important points. Yeah, the first point is specific and common goal. Yeah, specific and common goal. Second is positive synergy. The third is individual and mutual accountability. And the fourth is complementary skills. Okay, so, well, when we go back to the groups, definition. So basically, if we compare, all right, teams and groups, there are a lot of differences. Okay, so if we go to the definition of groups, basically it is just an interactions, right? Groups is just an interactions of two or more people, if you can still remember, two or more people in order to achieve their goals. Okay, so in work teams, so basically in work teams, we would say that several members, several people in the team who work intensely means who work with very high effort to achieve the goals, to achieve the specific goals that have been set up by the teams using their positive synergy. Synergy means interactions, it can be a cooperation, it can be a concerted effort, right? A concerted effort means a very high effort that they have put to the teams to ensure that they are achieving the goals. Not to forget, in here it mentions about individual and mutual accountability. So it means that, okay, accountability is responsibility. We will say that it is a responsibility. It is actually beyond responsibility. It is accountable. So if let's say you are a student, so you are basically accountable to your results by the end of the semester. It is based on your work performance. So we refer to this, it is basically not only an individual responsibility, but it is a mutual. Mutual means all team members, they have their responsibilities towards the teams. And the final keyword is complementary skills. Complementary means to complement each other. If someone is not perfect, the others would make it perfect. You know what I mean? It's to complement each other. So skills in this sense is that they are basically the members are trying to equip the others with the necessary skills that the others don't have. So it means that there will be no redundancies, there will be no overloading. Okay, so it will be much more focused and specific skills. So that is about work teams. Now we move on to the differences between groups versus teams. before I go straight to the differences, let me tell you that most companies, like 80% of Fortune 500 companies, especially in US, they have at least half of the employees are actually working in team. Okay, and data shows that, or studies or research shows that 70% of the manufacturing companies using work teams because they see that work teams is much more efficient than work groups. So we'll see what are those differences between work teams and work groups. First, leadership role is shared. But in work groups, the right hand side here on the blue color here is work groups, normally one leader clearly in charge. Alright, so you can see the differences that in work teams, normally the role of the leader, there are some kind of rotation. Member A become leader, member B become leader, member C become leader. Sometimes they are considered as everyone is a leader, things like that. But in work groups, definitely only one leader is in charge, and that one leader will give instructions to the all group members. Second point is that accountable in work teams, they are accountable to self and the team. As I told you just now, accountable is like a responsible. So all team members, they are responsible to themselves, to their own performance, and also to the team performance. But in work groups, they are only focusing on themselves only. It's like a only self individual work. The third point is that work teams create specific purpose. The team itself create specific purpose. What are they going to achieve? But in work groups, normally the purpose is same as broader organizational purpose. It's like they have the organization's aim, and then they will just follow the aim, and they are trying to to make sure that the group are accomplishing the aims of the company. In work teams, work is done collectively. But in work groups, work is done individually. For example, there is a task given to a team, so all of them, they are working together to solve or to do the task. But in work groups, they are doing it independently. They are doing it individually. Then after one by one has finished, then normally they are going to combine whatever their output would be. Alright. Next is that work teams meetings characterized by open-ended discussion and collaborative problem solving. The meetings normally would be a very fruitful session to the team members. They will have a very open discussion, and they are trying to solve the problems by collaborating with each other. But in work groups, normally it depends on the efficiency and no collaboration or open-ended discussion. How efficient the group member would be much more, it depends on the individual. Alright. Next point is that performance is measured directly by evaluating collective work output. It's basically a work. It's basically a collective work, collective work output. Alright. But in work groups, it basically depends on how the output you are doing individually will influence the others. right? How do you convey the message to the other group members? That would you be able to influence the others or not? So it's not a collective work output, rather it is much more on individually. The next one is work is decided upon and done together. So whatever they want to do in the work teams, they decide together, they agreed together. All right, but in work groups, normally everything is decided by the group leader, okay, and delegated to individual group members. You know what I mean? So now you see. So group work, normally it is leadership oriented, so it is based on the leader. So the leader give the instruction, the leader decide everything, then the leader delegate to the group members, but not in work teams. Yeah, they decide together, they do it together, then the output is together, and then they are responsible to the output together. Okay, so finally, work teams can be quickly assembled, deployed, refocused, and disbanded.